Welcome one and all. Whoopsie, sorry, just trying to reposition the camera. Got my tea on the go. Let's try not to spill it. And I don't know what incense this is. I bought a bunch of incense and some of it was like a bit crap. So all of it's kind of mixed together right now. So it's just like lucky dip. And we'll see if this is a good one or not. So yes, hope you're all doing really, really well. Got some really sweet comments from you guys after last week's video, which was just, you know, a little Q&A and hangout. So I thought maybe we'd do the same again. So yeah, like I don't have a particular topic. I got a few things that I maybe want to talk about. Let's see if they come through in the Q&A, or maybe I'll just add them afterwards, or just save them for next week's video if the video ends up going on really long like it did last time. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the Q&As and everybody who's contributing to those. So thanks very much for that. So let's see, what did people ask? Okay. So Papaya Smasher asks me, any tips for getting deeper into a meditative state? So yes, yoga. Yoga is the whole purpose of yoga asanas, which are the poses and the postures, and also the kriyas. I mean, the kriyas are also supposed to remove like traumatic imprints from, you know, your parts of your body, your energy centers, and open up your energy channels, but it also prepares the body to achieve deeper states in meditation, which is why Shavasana, corpse pose, which is just you lying flat on your back at the end, is the most important posture out of any of the postures that you'll do on the mat at all, because that's the whole purpose. It's the whole purpose of yoga. Yoga means union, unification with the divine. So meditation helps you to do that. Now, I know that you are already in the course, Justina. So for those of you who are already in my course, Reclaim Your Crown, in which I teach you all these kriyas that help you get into those deeper states, another thing that you can try is meditating. I love meditating in the middle of the day if ever I'm a little bit sleepy and like maybe I haven't slept that well that night, so I'll just, instead of taking, sometimes you just need a nap, right? But if I'm not quite sleepy enough for a nap, I'll maybe just meditate for like 20 minutes or an hour or whatever. And some of my most craziest visions that I've received, or like, you know, most bonkers interdimensional experiences, not that that's necessarily the goal of meditation, but you know, those have happened during those states, because when you're a little bit sleepy, you can let go of your attachment to your ego identity, this physical avatar, i.e. me as Sandal in this lifetime, and go and explore other versions of you. Okay, so that kind of, your astral body kind of disconnects from your physical body and can, you know, go and explore other realms. So yeah, try that. If you've already tried the asanas and the kriyas and you're still not going deep enough. Chandi Bari asked for tips for building and sustaining momentum after divine masculine and femme awakening and trauma healing. I asked her on Instagram, please can you give me a little bit more context, so because I'm not sure what you mean for building and sustaining momentum for what. Okay, I'm gonna answer this based on my own assumptions. So are you looking to build and sustain momentum to continue your healing journey? If you're finding that you're not having that momentum, it might be your body telling you just to rest and to ground, okay? Because sometimes it can happen that like on the healing and awakening journey, you might have an awakening and open up to all this multidimensionality and to spirit and start having, you know, certain experiences, synchronicities, you know, animals might start appearing to you, giving you messages. You might start seeing numbers, having encounters with like spirit guides or ETs, or, you know, the whole gamut. You know, I've heard all different kinds of things from different people about different experiences they've had. And sometimes you can go through a period where you feel a little bit disconnected from that, and like you're just kind of going through the motions of daily life. that's necessary and that's important. Like, you know, recently I was feeling like this. I was just like, I feel a little bit disconnected from my spiritual journey. I've not been putting that much time and attention into, you know, deepening my energy healing practices. I've not been spending that much time, you know, building upon my Kriya practice and doing that really, really consistently. I've been focusing on, you know, business strategy, you know, doing my accounts, you know, just things like that, like going to castings, you know, just daily life, you know, exploring the city with my boyfriend. Like those of you know, I was separated from him for a long time during the pandemic, so we're just enjoying being together. Sometimes you're just supposed to ground into this physical reality. People think that the spiritual journey is about expanding and going out there and having all these mystical experiences. That's only half the story, okay? We must root down to rise. My guru, Piri Sanchez, well, she's now Samtim Sanchez, or Samtim Kriya on Instagram if you want to go follow her. She always teaches us that a good yogi is always half in and half out. Don't be a space cadet, okay? You've got to ground into the body and into this physical reality. So if you're losing momentum, if you feel like you're losing momentum to keep going on and expanding on your spiritual journey, it might be because your body and your higher self is telling you to ground and slow down and integrate, okay? Integration is so important, and integration basically means taking what you learned on that journey when you had all these realizations and grounding them into your life and improving your life and being an actual human being, which is what you came here to be. So I'm hoping that that's what you meant by that question. Sorry if I've made an incorrect assumption, but I didn't have enough context with what I know that the box is really small, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna add and edit this bit in because the person has actually elaborated on what they meant by the question. So the original question that they asked was tips for building and sustaining momentum after divine masculine feminine awakening and trauma healing, and now she has elaborated. And she said, what I meant to ask was that after experiencing deep healing from trauma, alchemizing trauma beliefs and bringing harmony to my inner masculine and feminine, I don't resonate with my old life. I'm now building a new one in alignment with higher self. It feels almost like there is a void in between these two lives, and I was wondering if you'd have any tips for building momentum towards the highest self and one's divine purpose in this phase. Yeah, great question. And for me, this process took many years, okay, because I mean, the awakening journey can take many years. I had my spontaneous Kundalini awakening when I was 25, and I was healing from a lot of things, and it took me many years before I started doing the work that I'm now doing, even though I had this YouTube channel back then as well, and you know, I was doing various things outside of modeling, and I was slowly trying to transition into something that I felt was a bit more meaningful, even though I was using kind of, you know, spiritual teachings to help with my modeling career, to manifest, you know, Vogue covers and weight loss and, you know, these kind of surface level things. My alignment was kind of a little gradual, because after that I started thinking about, okay, what could I do to, you know, do more purposeful work. So many of you know that I started working on a sustainable clothing line, which I'm still kind of working on in the background, you know, when I have time. It's been a super slow, lengthy process. I mean, mainly it's been slow because when I started, I had so many blocks and limiting beliefs about what it would take to do it, and I just had no idea what I was doing. I had no guidance, I had no mentorship, so I spent a lot of time just kind of like fumbling and trial and error, going to different tailors, trying to, you know, because I wanted to do everything very ethically as possible, so I didn't want to just go to any old factory. I wanted to make sure that, you know, whoever manufactured the piece was, you know, doing it to the highest ethical standards. And a lot of the people that I went to just really were not experienced enough in what I was trying to design, which was a very articulated design, very complex. So there was a lot of mistakes made, and it took many years. In that process, of learning about business and marketing, and also traveling Southeast Asia while I was doing all of that, I discovered, you know, coaching and healing and personal development, and not just that for myself and the things that I needed in order to get ready for entrepreneurship, but I discovered this whole avenue of people that were making a living out of doing coaching and healing work. Meanwhile, I was also trying to heal my own distortions in my own relationships, because I was still having very, very polarized relationships. So for me, it took many, many years. If I had had tools like quantum field work, like energy healing, quantum field work is a form of energy healing, like Kriya Yoga, the tools that I'm bringing you now that massively accelerated the process and helped me drop out all those blocks in the space of literally a few months, that it would have taken a lot less time. It wouldn't have taken me 10, 15 years or however long it took me. It would have taken me a year, which is what it finally ended up taking me. I was working on the clothing line, found these tools, and then I was just like, okay, I'm still going to do the clothing line, but it's just going to be, it's not the main thing that I'm doing. Like, this is the main thing that I'm doing, which is, you know, speaking truth, like helping align people to their highest timeline, helping people identify what their blocks are. So you've got to get really clear on what that thing is for you. If you want to be a healer, for example, a lot of people believe that they want to be healers. It's not, there's plenty of room in the space for everyone who wants to do that, because the way that people heal each other is completely unique to that individual. You know, there's people who use very, very esoteric modalities, like what I use, what my mentor Emily uses, and there's people who use very, very grounded techniques, which are actually very similar to some of the techniques that we use in quantum field work, for example, like my boyfriend really likes Ramit Sethi, who is the I Will Teach You to Be Rich guy, and he basically helps people resolve their money traumas and their money blocks, and he's very, very grounded. He's not got any hint of woo, but one of the things that he guides his clients through, and you can basically see the process that he guides his clients through on his podcast. It's basically timeline repair. Or inner child healing. Like, it's one of the things that we do, it's one of the techniques that we use in quantum field work to help people collapse out old belief systems and old traumas. It's not that esoteric. It can be, if you look at it that way, but it's also very grounded and very, very effective. So I believe that people, you know, normal, you know, mainstream psychiatrists, psychotherapists, and other types of, you know, counselors and therapists will use techniques like that to help heal people. So I would say to maintain momentum in aligning with your highest timeline is to find modalities that are extremely effective, that will help you drop out those beliefs and those distortions and those blocks that are holding you back from that highest timeline as soon as possible. So find a mentor that you resonate with, find a coach. You know, what really, really inspired me to do my training in Kriya Yoga, to do training full stop, and also to sign up for the mentorship that I did with Emily Joy Harris, was my friend Laura Cherry Dance, who, you know, was going through a healing crisis and awakening at the same time. And I could see, you know, her going through all these issues. And I knew straight away this girl is being initiated into working as a healer, because she had been researching so much about Chinese medicine and natural healing and the emotional body, physical body connection. And every time I would meet up with her, I would learn so much from her. I mean, this girl is so knowledgeable. Please go follow her on Instagram. She's not just about dance videos, okay? She has so much knowledge about how to heal the body, but she loves dance. And so dance is the medium that she uses to help people heal, but it works on so many deeper layers. So she knows all about, you know, energy channels and meridians and like feng shui even, and yeah, she's extremely knowledgeable. But she basically started working with a high priestess. She found this woman she's an elderly, very, very experienced woman, who is trained in multiple healing modalities. She's a syncretist. If you contact her, I'm sure she'll share the details of her mentor with you. And she would just go and see this woman like once a week or once every 2 weeks or whenever she could afford a session with her. And I started seeing like instant changes with her. Like she really started to drop out all the excuses, all the limiting beliefs, and she just started applying aligned action towards her goals, launched her business. But pretty soon she gave up her full-time job, and yeah, she's doing it. So yeah, I'm extremely proud of her. But you know, before then, I kind of had this ego around doing training courses and doing mentorship. Like I had mentors, but they were not people that I paid. They were just friends who would come into my life who were extremely knowledgeable about certain things and would help teach me. So, you know, after seeing the massive exponential growth that she made after working with this mentor, I started thinking about also doing some kind of training and doing some kind of mentorship. And many of you have observed the difference that it's made, because, you know, I'm now doing this for a living. And before I was just making these videos just because I was passionate about the truth and about, you know, clearing distortions and about, you know, all the horrible things and the inversions that are happening on this planet and the ways that we're being targeted. So, you know, I knew that it was definitely like my soul aligned mission, but I didn't know that I could actually make a career out of it. So find whatever is holding you back from what you know you're supposed to do. You always know, okay? But it's just a lot of us have these stories and limiting beliefs and overlays that tell us that we can't possibly do that because, you know, like for me, I was just like, who do you think you are? That was the belief, okay? Who do you think you are to teach people, to heal people? I was already doing it. I just wasn't charging people for my time, and I wasn't properly trained. So I can help people much more now that I'm properly trained. It was, yeah, who do you think you are? What are people going to think? People are going to judge you. A lot of people have crucifixion implants that create belief systems that if they start doing their soul aligned mission work, that they will be crucified, that they will be hunted down, that they will be harmed in some way. That's a very, very common belief. So look to see where you might have that. I can help you clear that during quantum field work. We can see if you've got that going on, or if you've got any kind of implants that are holding you back. Quantum field work can also help reveal your gifts, you know, like your natural templating of what you're here to do. So Emily does a specific Activate Your Gifts session that she offers. She's also trained us in that work. So gift templates is something that comes up in my sessions with clients as well. So usually it will take about like maybe 5 sessions for us to, you know, activate enough of them for you to really go ahead and go full pelt into, you know, what you're here to do. I wouldn't, you know, it's not something that can just reveal in one session, because sometimes people have got so much trauma and so much inversions that the first session is just about removing implants. So yeah, I mean, I hope that that's answered your question. I mean, it can be a lengthy process if you don't have the right tools. So that's why I'm saying find the right mentor and find the right modalities and the tools that can help you clear those things, because they are very real. A lot of people look at people like me or other people who are doing this work or any kind of similar work or anybody who's out there helping people, and they think, oh, it's just easy. They just get out there and do it, okay? A lot of us have had to clear so many limiting beliefs and so many fears around showing up. Even though I've had this channel for 10 years, like I still had so many fears around showing up and doing this work. So yeah, energy healing was crucial, and Kriya Yoga was crucial for clearing those very, very quickly. She says also, I'd also like to add that I'm specifically wondering about things one can do in everyday mundane life. Yeah, just have a sadhana, have a practice where you identify those things. Like I would have like a weekly Kriya yoga. I mean, I did the teacher training, so we did it every day, and then I would do it every week. And then, once I started my training with Emily, we do one or two clearings and activations every week. So every week I was doing some kind of light body upgrade, or removing implants, removing distortions, running new energies, and just fully, just up leveling all the time. So yeah, another thing I would suggest is just decluttering. Like if you really feel like you're shifting, clearing out those old things that are attached to that old life and that old person that you used to be can really help bring in new energy. So yeah, I'm a big advocate of decluttering. I need to actually still go through my stuff that I left in London and declutter some of that. Okay, so there were a couple of other questions as well. Okay, We Are Spirit Tribe asks, do you feel an awakening is coming this year? I mean, it's not coming, it's happening. We're already in it. We've been in it for a long time. Like, we've been in it since like at least 2012. You could say that we've always been in it, that this whole human journey is us awakening to the remembrance of our multidimensional selves and, as fractals of source consciousness. But yeah, we are in it and it's ramping up. I don't, people think it's, like I've said before, that it's going to be this switch that gets flipped and suddenly everybody wakes up. It's not, I don't think it's going to happen like that. It's slowly building and building and building, okay? We've been in the whole event, the grand solar flash that a lot of people are talking about. We're in it right now. There have been solar flares that have been increasing in intensity almost every day. Like if we don't have a solar flare, we'll have a coronal mass ejection or a solar wind. So if you don't understand about that, then follow my associate Ryan Riff Parks on Facebook. He's doing amazing solar weather updates. Every time there's a big solar flare, he'll do a live on Facebook, and he's got some really good content. He's a really sweet guy, and he has a website called thesmokingsun.com that explains what coronal mass ejections, solar flares and solar winds do to your light body. The Schumann resonance is also massively increased compared to what it, the baseline, which was 7.38 hertz. We've seen much bigger recordings than that recently. So what that's doing is everybody's vibrating at a much higher frequency, dropping out old density. So we're actually all going through it. Everybody, I mean, just take a look around you, like watch okay, I don't watch the news, but even when you're watching the news, people are, the narrative is changing, it's shifting, okay? It's not going to be like a sudden overnight thing and they're suddenly going to disclose what's been going on and this evil cabal has been controlling everybody and controlled by negative aliens. I don't think that that's going to be like an overnight thing. I don't think that we're going to see any mainstream disclosure of that, because that's not what the awakening is. The awakening is when people start to realize that they're not going to be spoon-fed this information. They have to be able to see it for themselves. So it's just going to be more and more people waking up and realizing what's been going on this planet and seeking those answers for themselves, which so many people are doing now in increasing number. It's happening. I can't say, like, I'm not going to try and prophesy a specific date where, everybody will have to be on board, because it's a moving target. Because once we get there, where everybody knows what those of us who are so-called awake know now, we'll know more stuff that we didn't know before. So we're always awakening. Like, even those of us who are awake, there's things that we're not awake to yet, and that it will just keep on going. There's no end to it. Like, awakening process is just never ending. So yeah, it's always coming. So Abhishek Lizard says a few things actually. You are so pretty, thank you. What type of men you like? So I like men who are balanced in their masculine and feminine energy. I don't like this this like super alpha, like red pill, like obviously the red pill community of men are interesting community, and I have spent some time listening to what they have to say, and it was very quite crucial on my Hyros Gamos journey, my journey of inner alchemy, you know, marrying my masculine and feminine energy together, just to listen to what the wounded masculine are saying. And I do feel like the red pill community is basically a wounded masculine archetype. But it's also, I see it as a necessary part of masculine awakening, that some men will need to go through that process. So obviously, I don't like red pill guys, but I do like guys that hold, I mean, my partner is more in the masculine. When I was more, before I had embarked on this journey and before I had fully healed, not that I'm fully healed by any means, but before I'd got to this level of healing and I was more in my wounded masculine expression with some of my femininity also wounded and suppressed, I definitely preferred a man who was more in his feminine polarity, because those type of beta guys are much easier to control. So, you know, when there's a gender inversion happening in the Christosphere union template and a woman is operating more out of her wounded masculine, she will tend to prefer a more feminine energy guy, but she won't respect him. She'll prefer him because she feels safer with him, because his masculine energy is not going to overpower her, because she's so uncomfortable with the masculine in general, because her own masculine is wounded. So for me, I like a man who has a healthy integrated feminine, but he's not operating out of his feminine energy. So he's not, you know, over emotional. He has a way of connecting to his emotions and expressing his emotions, but he's more thinking rather than feeling. Somebody who takes his responsibilities as a provider and a protector seriously, somebody who has goals that are aligned with not just any goal, right? Just a goal that wants to contribute positively to humanity, make a positive, helpful, morally aligned contribution, and works hard towards that goal. Who has sexual mastery and sexual containment, and those two things are very interrelated, okay? Because if he's working hard towards a singular goal, that's making a positive, heart-based contribution to society, he naturally will need to alchemize his own sexual energy towards that, to manifest that. Men who are sexually uncontained are generally men who don't have clear goals, or their goals are to use, you know, their masculine provision in order to get access to, you know, feminine sexuality and things like that. What else? Yeah, that's probably all I want to say. Somebody who's compassionate towards humans and animals, but not overly so to the point where, you know, he has like a victim complex, or he's too like angry at the world. That kind of activist type of energy is not something that I find attractive. I used to, but I saw the problems with that, so that's not something that I'm into right now. I want somebody who is, just very focused on what he's here to do, and doesn't get too sidetracked by things that pull him off his higher timeline. My boyfriend is extremely focused. He's in this working right now. So yeah, Shaki has said let's shoot virtually. I'm not really into virtual shoots. Like, I did do one when I was in Bali, and it actually came out really, really well with Daud Malik, a Pakistani photographer, very, very talented photographer. I did love how those pictures turned out, don't get me wrong, but for the amount of effort that you have to put in to do a virtual shoot, like, it's not pictures that I can use for my portfolio. I can maybe use them for Instagram content, but the quality is just, I just prefer doing real shoots, and I hardly have as much time as I would like for real shoots. So yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't have time for virtual shoots at the moment. Farhan Naqvi has asked, can I have a coffee with you, please? I know of Farhan. When I'm back in London, let's do it. Let's even do like a real little lifestyle shoot. Arabenji26 has asked, how do you regulate your phone usage? I actually don't. I don't have any specific strategies to regulate my phone usage. I used to be pretty addicted to social media pre-lockdown, and even during the lockdown, and I had really, really good engagement on my social media back then, which I think I really took for granted, because I was just like, why am I not getting thousands and thousands of likes like other people? But it was pretty good engagement. But after getting shadow banned because of the things that I was speaking up about, and then also just generally the explosion of AI and the introduction of the metaverse and researching the Great Reset and all of that stuff that's happening that I've talked about check out my video where I'm talking about AI, Lensa, inorganic consciousness. I just really pulled away from it massively. I started to realize that I was just spending way too much time on screens, and I want to spend more time in real life. Like, I still spend quite a lot of time on screens when I'm obviously working. So we're so reliant on the digital space nowadays for work and business. So it's kind of unavoidable, but I just really enjoy being able to switch off at the end of the day. Sometimes we'll watch a movie, so that's still, they're still looking at a screen, but we do try and go out and about and explore the city, go to restaurants or do like cultural activities. Just, get a hobby, try and connect with a group, do something with your hands. I do have a lot of creative hobbies, but I haven't really been able to, do much of those recently because I've been so busy working. Having a hobby definitely kind of pulls you away from the screen. Also, having groups that you can interact with in real life, social groups or some kind of hobby activity group. If you're worried about your screen use, definitely look into that. Luke Woodford asks, what's your biggest dream? Okay, I tend to move in silence. Whenever I have a manifestation that I'm actively working on, I keep it to myself until it has taken form. And, I just feel like I might share it with one or two close people, but I'm not going to talk about it here on YouTube. And right now, I think actually I'm not actively I don't have a singular vision of exactly what I'm trying to manifest. I mean, I know I want to see, the world be better. I want to see new systems. I want to see like the fall of this, dark archonic force that's been controlling humanity for such a long time. I would love to see that go. None of that's a secret. All of you know that I would love to see that, and I'm not the only person who's actively trying to manifest that. But exactly what that looks like, I haven't quite figured out yet. I'm still kind of playing with it in my mind, exactly how that's going to look. I'll keep that to myself for the time being. What's your biggest dream, guys? Share with me in the comments. Okay, so Shaylee Minchie has asked quite a few questions. She's asked for tips for going vegan. So my number one tip for going vegan is to get educated. Okay, watch documentaries. You got to get educated on every front, like why you're doing this. Okay, you might be doing it for health reasons, or you might be doing it for animal rights reasons, or you might be doing it for environmental reasons. But once you get all three start to become more and more important. Because there are massive benefits on all of those fronts. So in the animal rights side, Earthlings, very, very difficult watching. I have not been able to watch it myself. I've watched tons and tons of factory farm videos though. I do think it's important to watch factory farm videos, watch videos from the egg industry because otherwise you'll just go vegetarian and you won't go vegan. Watch the videos on the egg industry and how the baby chicks are treated in the egg industry. Watch dairy farm footage. The dairy industry is even worse than the meat industry. Just to give you a little bit of information, dairy cows are kept perpetually pregnant. They are periodically anally raped and they're literally fisted in the anus and then inseminated. So that they can, cows don't just naturally produce milk, okay? Cows are just female bulls, female oxes, right? Women we don't just naturally lactate, right? We lactate when we are breastfeeding young. So they have to be kept perpetually pregnant and constantly giving birth so that they can produce milk. They're also given loads of hormones to increase their milk production that quarter their life expectancy. So most of them are like teenagers when they're slaughtered. Their babies are taken away from them when they're born. They're either shot with a bullet in the head or they're sent to Europe for veal crates. So the dairy industry supports the veal industry. Obviously in the UK, veal is not legal, but in Europe it is. I don't know about Canada and, you know, the States and all of that. But yeah, these poor little calves spend their entire lives just in a little box, and they can barely move around, so that their muscle tissue goes white and has no blood flow to it. It's just super fucked up. And then before they slaughter, they obviously end up slaughtering the dairy cows when their milk production reduces, but they impregnate them one more time, and then they give her an abortion. They take the calf out and they use the calf skin for like really high-end suede, and then they slaughter her while she's pregnant. So it's super, super fucked up. It's just evil. Like, I don't know why anyone supports it. It's not even good for you. Read the China study. That will show you the link between dairy and cancer tumor growth. Read 80-10-10, that talks about the benefits of a high carb, low fat diet, and our optimal diet as humans, and it provides the support for the argument that humans are naturally frugivores, which I do believe. Also, watch a documentary called Game Changers. I watched it because I was already vegan by that point, but that's one that has come highly recommended. For the environmental stuff, watch Cowspiracy and also watch Seaspiracy. Otherwise, you know, pescatarians, like, they have no idea how much they're actually damaging the planet. The fishing industry is just absolutely atrocious. Like, the rate of bycatch is something like 16-1, where they'll basically send these trawlers and they'll pick up everything, but maybe that fishing vessel only is interested in prawns or only interested in cod. So they'll throw everything back into the ocean, dolphins, dead, dying, like, it's just super fucked up. So it's actually, you know, it's basically contributing to ocean dead zones. Cowspiracy also talks about how wastewater runoff from the animal agriculture industry is also contributing to ocean dead zones. What other tips? I would also say, if you're struggling to go vegan, transition slowly, okay? No shame in transitioning slowly, okay? It took me 16 years to go vegan. Like, I went vegetarian at 13, then I went vegan at 16, but I wasn't very good at it, and by 21 I was eating dairy again and eggs and everything. Then it wasn't until I was 28 and I went to the Thai Fruit Festival, and y'all who've been watching me for a long time will have charted my journey, which, you know, I kind of documented here on YouTube. And that's when I went vegan again. Now, I've not been the most perfect vegan. I have had slip-ups. I've talked about that in previous videos. Do your best, okay? Be kind to yourself. If you slip up, just keep doing your best. Keep trying as hard as you can. And remind yourself why you're doing it as well. Like, what is your why? Also, yeah, when I'm talking about transitioning, just, you know, transition, like, let go of the things that you find easiest to let go of. For some people it's red meat, then white meat, then fish, then eggs, then, you know, they might be vegetarian for a long time before they then go vegan. That's fine. Like, I have no judgment towards that. And then gradually they'll start, you know, looking at the lifestyle aspect of it, like, so makeup, cosmetics, you know, house products, you know, clothing, stuff like that, because some of that can be a little bit more difficult. But I know some people, I've got some friends that don't use leather, or anything in their wardrobes, but still eat meat. Like one of my friends it's because he's a fashion designer actually, so I shared some video of like a Chinese fur farm, and he watched it and he was so upset and traumatized by it that he won't use any leather or anything in any of his designs, but he does still eat meat because he's just found that a little bit more difficult to give up. So, you know, I applaud anybody's attempt to kind of do better, and even if they're still finding it difficult to give up one thing, I try not to be like super judgy about that. I do believe that we're all doing our best. So yeah, and look up stuff on Pinterest. Like for me, just learning how to make a few basic things like a raw vegan caramel, how to make vegan ice cream, how to do vegan cheeses. Once I figured out those, and then also figured out like, you know, how to combine different flavor profiles to get that kind of sweet spot. So you want sour, you want salt, you want umami, you want spice, and you want fat. And if you've got all those, let's say in like a salad dressing, that is going to be a super fucking delicious salad dressing that's going to hit those pleasure spots in your brain, and you're not going to feel like you're missing anything. So yeah, I eat a lot of salads, and I add like all those like an oil, a vinegar, a spicy thing, maybe some maple syrup, and then maybe like some soy sauce or something for the umami. So yes, she also asks, I also linked on, when I answered this question on Instagram, I linked my Pinterest recipe mood board. So yeah, like I love Pinterest for recipes. Like it's just, there's so many good ones on vegan. You can literally find vegan anything on Pinterest. It's so good. She also asked, I've been asked this question recently, what is Christ consciousness? Okay, so she's actually asked me this before, and I've answered it before, but no problem, I'll answer again. So Christ consciousness is actually a new age term. I think Dolores Cannon talks about it in her books. Look, don't get me wrong, I love Dolores Cannon. I've got a lot of time for Dolores Cannon, rest in peace. You know, I think she did very important work on this planet, restoring a lot of lost, forgotten codes, specifically to do with like Atlantis, Lemuria, the pyramids, you know, the different races that have kind of helped seed the planet. She doesn't talk about negative races though. She only talks about the benevolent races. So, you know, I think that there are some, you know, you got to be discerning with everything that you read. The fact that she doesn't talk about negative races ever, or none of her channelings included information on negative races. They said it was because, you know, they didn't feel like it was appropriate to reveal that information to humanity just yet, like they wouldn't be ready for it, which is fair, but I just don't really, so Christ consciousness is the idea that, you know, the second coming of Christ is when we all have this collective awakening, that it won't be like this one singular Messiah, it will be everybody walking each other home. And everybody will receive that Christos, that anointing of God at the same time, which is a beautiful concept. And I understand why so many people find it compelling. The problem that I have with that is I don't believe it's going to go down like that. Like, I think that we're all at different stages of the awakening. I don't think that there's going to be like this rapture and we're all going to have this, you know, come to home God moment all at the same time. That's just my personal opinion. You guys can believe whatever you want. Like, I mean that sincerely, okay? I believe in the idea of Christos and Christ energy, okay? Also, there's a singular stream that emerges from the Godhead that is the Christ, okay? And so, we will connect to that stream. In my course, Reclaim Your Crown, we connect to that stream. I also use that energy in field work. So whenever people want to connect with the divine masculine, if they're having, you know, if they're healing from, let's say, narcissistic abuse or any tyrannical father stuff, you know, like, what I mean by tyrannical father, it could be anything to do with, you know, having a an abusive actual biological father. It could be, you know, religious wounding around, you know, patriarchal ideas of what is God, and this kind of like judgment, and not feeling safe to return to, you know, the true benevolent Holy Father. Then we'll bring in, you know, either Holy Father frequency, or we'll bring in masculine Christ. There's also the Sophianic feminine Christ, that's a different frequency. But the thing is, they're actually unified. The masculine feminine Christ is unified, and it is the singular stream that emerged from the Godhead as the divine child, okay? Many different wisdom traditions will refer to this emanation. She also asks, I've been studying miasma lately. Anything around this would be cool. Okay, so miasma is a technical term for ancestral trauma. Okay, so trauma that we inherit from our ancestors, from our parents, our grandparents. Much of ancestral trauma that we inherit from our ancestors is learnt behavior. You know, they behaved in certain ways. Maybe they were traumatized by whatever, you know, wars or trauma, personal trauma that they went through, or political stuff that they went through, or societal stuff, belief systems, and they passed those down through their behaviors and their beliefs and their cultural values that they instilled into your parents, who then passed it to you. But then there's also epigenetic trauma that gets passed down in your DNA, and that is what miasma specifically refers to. So we clear that in Reclaim Your Crown. Specifically, that's what the Kriyas will clear, your own personal trauma and also miasma. And we can also clear it in quantum field work as well. We can do healing not just on your own light body, but on your parents, on your grandparents. Barbara Brennan talks about, I think she wrote the book Hands of Light, I think, and she's done a whole series of books on energy healing. She talks a lot about not just ancestral trauma and healing your own ancestral trauma, but how you can even heal your ancestors 7 generations back through time and space, which obviously goes beyond our human understanding of time as a linear construct that only moves forwards. Time is actually not what we think it is. I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. That's kind of a different video. So yep, that's it. That's all the questions. Now, my Facebook group for women is live. I put the link in the description box below. As I said in previous videos, the link only stays active for 2 days. So if you try that link and it doesn't work, message me on Instagram and I will send you your own fresh, unique link. I want to get about 20 women in that group, and then we're going to do like a live hangout and a free activation for you all. So please join that group, because I'm really itching and raring to go to bring that to you all. And yeah, if you want to book a session with me, then you can also DM me on Instagram, and I will love you and leave your soul, fam, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, one love.